Hello everyone, this video covers section 6.2, applications of the normal distribution. If you understood section 6.1, this is 95% the same. There are two extra things you have to do. First, you have to read the word problem, and second, you have to use this formula to change it to standard, because this is a normal distribution but it's not necessarily a standard, and everything within section 6.1 it was a standard. So these two values, this one and this one, are pretty much given all the time, and x, this will be whatever the question is asking. By the way, one way in which you can automatically know you have to use this formula is that the question somewhere has to say that is normal or approximately normal, but it has to mention this, that is normal. So therefore, if it has that, that means you're going to use this formula. Here in this example, it says the amount of sugar is normal, the mean is equals to 40, and the standard deviation is equals to 7. Like I told you before, this value and this should be given. Here, the question is, what is the probability that a randomly selected energy drink will contain more than 54 grams of sugar? So here x is going to be the amount of sugar, and the question is pretty much asking what's the probability that x is greater than 54. The first thing you have to do is use this formula. So here the value for z will be x, which is 54, minus 40 divided by 7, which is 14 over 7, which is 2. Hence, this is the same thing as finding the probability that z is greater than 2. Once you get the value for z, or the z-score, then this is section 6.1. And remember, at this point, you have two choices. You can use the table. The area that you want is the right side, which is the green area. So this is what you want. The table is going to give you this, which is 0.9772. You should check that this is the value you get from the table. Since you want the green area, remember to get the green area. It's going to be 1 minus the yellow area. So therefore this will be 1 minus 0.9772, which is equals to 0.0228, and that's it. Or remember, you can also use a calculator, which will be normal CDF. This is the lower bound, this is the upper bound, so this will be from 2 to 1000, and it will give you exactly the same answer. Okay. All right, you didn't get that one. Here's a chance to redeem your sins. Using the same information, now the question is asking what is the probability that the amount of sugar is between 30 and 50. So now you have to find the z-score for two values, for 30 and for 50. So for 30, z will be 30 minus 40 over 7, which is negative 1.43. And for 50, this will be 50 minus 40 over 7, which is 1.43. Likely the number is the same twice, so therefore you only have to worry about one by symmetry. Remember that whenever you have something like this, technically what you want is to blue areas. So here what you really want to find is what's the probability that Z is between minus 1.43 and 1.43, which, like I mentioned just a second ago, is this blue area plus this one. If we use the table gives you the value from here to here, which happens to be 0.9236. Remember, how do we find the blue area? To find the blue, it was equals to the yellow area minus 0.5. So therefore, this part is going to be 0.4236. How? 92 minus 50 gives you 42. Using the same logic, this is again 0.4236. So therefore the area is this plus this. So it should be 4236, which equals to 0.8472. Or you can use a calculator, and this will be normal CDF. The lower bound is minus 1.43, the upper bound is 1.43, and they should give you exactly the same answer. And that's it. Just in case this is still not very clear, let's just try one more example. This problem says the length of a human pregnancy is approximately normally distributed. So here it is, that is normal, where the mean is 270 and the standard deviation is 15. And here X will be the length of the pregnancy. Okay. So the question is asking, what is the probability that a pregnancy will last less than 255 days? So remember, the first thing we had to do is find the standard value. So Z will be 255 minus 270 divided by 15, which is minus 15 over 15, which is negative 1. So therefore, this is the same as finding the probability that Z is less than negative 1. Again, once you get to this point, this is your section 6.1. So again, you can use the table or you can use the calculator. So Z equals to 0 is there, negative 1 is here, less is to the left. So this is the area you want, the green area. By symmetry, you look to the table, since there is no negative values, this area from here to here is 0.8413. Again, since you want the green area, this is going to be equals to 1 minus 0.8413, which equals to 0.1587. Or if you want to use the calculator, this is equals to normal CDF. The lower bound is minus 1000 right here. This is the lower bound, and this is the upper bound, which is negative 1. And again, it will give you the exact same answer. Okay, so now using part B, this one is asking you what's the probability that 255 is less than X is less than 290. Okay. We already found the Z value for this one in part A. This is negative 1. So you only have to worry about 290. So therefore Z will be 290 minus 270 over 15, which is 20 over 15, which is 1.33. Actually keeps going forever. So therefore, you want to find the probability that Z is between -1 and 1.33, which means you need to find again two blue areas, this one and this one. We did the -1 already, and we found that the yellow area, which will be the area from here to here, okay, the yellow area, remember, was 0.8413. Therefore, this is equals to 0.3413. Remember, to find this value, all you have to do is subtract 0.5 from this. So 84 minus 50 gives you 34. Now, what about this one? You look to the table, the yellow area now is 0.9082. So the error is 0.9082, which means that this blue area is equals to 0.4082. Again, just do this minus 0.5. Okay. So therefore, the answer is going to be this value plus this one. So 3413 plus 0.4082, which equals to 0.7495. Or this will be normal CDF. The lower bound is -1, the upper bound is 1.33, and this will give you exactly 7495, and that's it. Okay. All right, so now the last two problems we did is when you read the table forward or you find a probability. Remember that in the last part of section 6.1, we use the table to find the values backwards, or when we use the inverse function. So this last problem, we have to do something like that. This example, it says that in order to get into Kali Academy, you need to score on the top, it will be the top 6%. So it's going to be important. And it says that the test scores are normally, so that's how you know you have to use the Z table, because it says normal, where the mean is 700 and the standard deviation is 30. Okay, so this is the part that is given, and it says what is the minimum score needed in order to get into Kali Academy. So what you're trying to find is X. So this is what you want. So find X. All right. So now technically the formula you had to use is this, and you already have these two values in here, 30 and 700. So this is what you want. What you want to find. But we don't have this value, and unless you have this value, you will never be able to do the problem. So that's where the inverse function comes in, or reading the table backwards. So this is a part that is tricky. So here it is. Here 6%, tab 6%, translates to this. The probability that X is greater than the score you want, remember this is what you want, is equals to 0.06. Remember that if you change from standard to regular, the probability doesn't change. So therefore this implies that there is some Z score, which before, remember, we used to call this A, or Z of alpha, where this is equals to 0.06. So that means that there is some value here of A, or you can call it Z, you can call it Z of alpha, where this area, which is technically the green area, is equals to 0.06, which means that the yellow area, the one you found on the table, has to be 0.9094. Therefore, you look to the table backwards and you try to find the value 0.94, that will give you that z is equals to 1.55 or 56, depends how you round it. Okay. Now you don't want to use a table. Remember, you can use or the inverse norm. The area to the left is 0.94, and it should give you also around 1.56 or 1.55. Once you find this value, then now you can plug it in here. So now this will be 1.56. X is equals to, well, that's what you're trying to find. This is minus 700 over 30. So you cross multiply, you're going to have 1.56 times 30 equals to x minus 700. Or 46.8 equals to x minus 700. So if we solve for x is going to be 700 plus 46.8, which is around 747. So this is the minimum score that you need in order to get into Cali Academy. And that's it. So this question is a little more tricky than the first two because you had to do this on the side. So make sure you do this. Without this, you won't be able to solve the problem. Notice that this equation has 4 variables. To find this value, you always have to do this. Doesn't matter what the question says. However, in the homework, some of the questions may ask you to find this value. Other questions ask you to find this value. And other questions ask you to find this value. It doesn't matter what the question is asking. This value, which is the key to the problem, you're going to always do something like this, which is what we did at the end of section 6.1. So this is it for 6.2. Okay.